Hi guys, it's the ex-church girl, Sophia. Hope everyone's doing well today. Happy Sunday. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I appreciate your love and support of this channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, why are you just hanging around being non-committed? Push that like button, push the subscribe button, and don't forget to share my content so that the algorithm can pick it up for others who need this valuable information. Today, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about our value. Let's talk about how we bring value to relationship. First of all, I think the number one way to express value is to know the value for yourself. Like, so many people focus on relationships that we forget that we are also valuable. And you bring value to yourself by taking care of yourself, by eating properly, by exercising or working out, by taking care of your health, your mental health, not only physical health, but also your mental health. A lot of people want to overlook the fact that mental issues can make a relationship toxic as hell, right? So you want to make sure that you maintain a healthy relationship mentally also. And you have to know when to de-stress, when to decompress, when to get your refocus back. And a lot of times it means taking some time off from your job just to get back to yourself again. A lot of times we are so overworked, so overstressed that we don't even know that we are. That's the crazy part, right? So make sure you take time out for yourself. I always say to make yourself the number one priority. And I still stand on that today. I stand on that laurel today, that you need to make yourself a number one priority before you even think about getting into a relationship. But let's talk about relationships today. A lot of times I don't really go into relationships because I know each relationship is that something that is individualized, is whatever those two people make it. So I don't want to put relationship into a box, right? But to be general, I think relationships should be healthy for those two people involved in it. And another thing, like open relationships, that's a whole nother can of worms. I'm not the expert on that. I would say that if you're not willing to do an open relationship, you need to be honest, open and honest with that person. And I think a lot of time we want to go into a relationship saying yes to everything a person tells us. We're so agreeable in the beginning, and later on we find out that's not what we want to do. People, when you're in a relationship, that's why I say getting to know yourself is so important, because if you don't get to know what you want for yourself, how will you know what you want with somebody else? Like, you won't even understand the value of your own value, and then you get into a relationship, you just putting that person first. So let's start here. Let's start with a healthy relationship with ourselves. What do we like? What don't we like? What do we care about the most? What's our priorities in life? What are we focusing on? And another thing, does that person's values line up with our values? Are they lazy, or are they a go-getter? Are they a stickler for time, or are they always late? Like, little things that you overlook in the beginning, don't, because later on they become so, those are the things that turn toxic later on in life, right? So let's focus on also, what do we really want from this relationship? Do we want to be in a committed relationship? Do we want to just be friends with benefits? Do we want to just be a situationship? What do we want from this relationship? Is it a temporary thing, or are we looking for something? Why we look for something permanent? Like, you make the choices about how you want to live with that. And once you make that decision, understand that don't be upset with the next person because they didn't give you what you asked for when you went into it with points A and B, and you really wanted X, Y, and Z. So be honest with yourself up front. What do you really want from this relationship? What's most important to you in this relationship? And then understand that once you go into that relationship, stop trying to change that person. We go into this with this big plan to, I know he's like this, or she's like this, but I know I can do something different to make them change. No, you cannot. You cannot change anybody. You can only change yourself. Stop trying to change the next person and focus on changing yourself, okay? And then another thing is, we need to find out, if we're not getting what we want from this person, how do we express that? Are we just going to sit back and stew about it, or are we going to tell them that, this is not what I want. I'm willing to dip out of it. I need to get out of this. then you need to tell that person, this is not what I want anymore. How do I get out of it? And you need to just let them know that I'm willing to walk away from this because it's not working for me. But you're not stuck in a relationship. Even when you're married, you have the option to get divorced, right? And then people, when they're single, they want to stick around in these relationships and say, okay, well, you know, I'll try to make it work. No, that's crazy. Get out of it. Get out of that relationship if it's not working for you. Just leave it alone and keep it pushing. Don't waste the other person's time, but don't waste your own time also. Make sure that you get what you need from a relationship. And that means understanding yourself, being whole with yourself, being true to yourself. And stop trying to look for a relationship to make you happy. Stop trying to tell the other person that they're responsible for your happiness. They're not responsible for your happiness. You're ultimately responsible for your own happiness, right? And that's why you have to know who you are way before you go into a relationship. And know when the time frame that you want to stop being single and start dating again. I think so many times people get focused on, oh, I'm taking care of myself. How many years are you going to keep taking care of yourself and focusing on yourself? And that sets you up for selfishness and selfish mode, which you can't. And it's so hard for you to get out of that once you fall into that little trap of just being single forever and ever and a day. It just sets you up for failure with relationships because now you've not used that relationship muscle. So you're just steadily looking for reasons to dip out of a relationship or to avoid relationships altogether. And you just end up spending years and decades by yourself. So set a time frame also for when you want to go back into a relationship. Start talking to friends. Start talking to find out what you can do to put yourself back on the market. And have a time frame. Have everything. Be intentional with your dating and relationships. Be intentional with not only relationships with men, but as well as women. If a friend is not working out,